Oh yes, you are watching Stepping the World, and this time you've got 30 seconds to guess where we are. Now, no cheating. Don't read the t-shirt.
It just so happened that on our first day testing the delights of St Lucia, it was market day in Castries, the island's capital town, and I just can't resist a good market. You should know at this point, by the way, that Castries is about an hour and a half's drive from the international airport, even with a taxi driver with Formula One tendencies.
It's Saturday morning and it's the main market day for Castries Central Market. It's a wonderful thing just to wander around here amongst the bananas and the coconuts, but perhaps best of all you get to meet the people.
Although the stalls overflow into the sunshine, there's a substantial covered market built at the turn of the century, in order, I suppose, to keep the t-shirts dry.
Well, I think this Dactari outfit has had its day here. I need to get more into the Caribbean feel of things. So a new t-shirt, definitely in order. What's this? Hey, I don't do hats. I don't do hats. No, I don't do hats. You haven't met Angie before, by the way, have you? This is Anne.
Oh, sorry, Pete.
Eventually, I found one of those Caribbean gems that hardly describe British understatement. This was followed by a bit of the old ivory shuffling. Dominoes is the pub game when you've got a little time on your hands in Castries. Slapping down the pieces is par for the course, and an audience, well, you can't play dominoes without one.
You see, when you're in England, you show us how to play football. When you come here, we show you how to play cricket. You can't show us how to play cricket.
Castries is a typical, bustling Caribbean town full of colour, flavours and very nice people. Like most of the Caribbean islands too, the residents are inclined to take you as they find you. To get some idea of the layout of the capital, we looked for a high view. We'd hired a car for a few days, and with a little direction from the locals, we found the ideal perch.
This vantage point just below Government House really puts Castries in perspective. It's a delightful town. The island's population is about 155,000, and half of them live here.
Back in the 1550s, the buccaneer Peg-Leg Leclerc used St Lucia's offshore islands as a base from which to give the Spanish treasure galleons a hard time. In 1605, the British attempted to colonise St Lucia, but were driven out by the native Carib Indians. They tried again a couple of decades later and again failed. Then the French bought the island for the French West India Company. When the French declared war on England in 1778, the English immediately attacked St Lucia and captured it. The sea battles after that event took many lives, but so did the dreaded yellow fever, which accounted for the lives of many British soldiers based on Pigeon Island in the mid-1800s.
And so the story goes on. French, English, French, English. Around the island are constant reminders of St Lucia's turbulent past, like this battery here, for instance, where one of the biggest guns on the island, a 32-pounder, used to guard the St Lucia Channel and Rodney Bay. It also played a vital part in stopping those French again in 1781.
In that year, a French invasion force was driven out of Gros-Islet Bay by a ferocious bombardment from the Pigeon Islands forts. The island supported a small American whaling station from 1910, and through the 20s the bay became a US flying boat station during the Second World War.
This era of history is all very interesting, but to be honest, it just doesn't light my fire. But Pigeon Island is worth a visit, if nothing else for the stunning views and the challenge of walking up to Fort Rodney. And after that, though, there are plenty of bars back down at the bottom and some fantastic beaches just to crash out and watch the day go past.
Pigeon Island has been a national park since 1979 and was officially opened in that year by Princess Alexandra. The sound of Rear Admiral Rodney's cannons are history, and now it's enjoyed for its natural history instead. From here is a terrific view of our hotel, the Royal St Lucia, just outside Castries. Like most of the hotels, it has built-in facilities and doesn't dominate the beach skyline. The choice of accommodation ranges from 5-star resorts and self-catering villas to basic guest houses. On the shoreline, warm, calm seas suggest water sports, and there's no shortage.
This is Rodney Bay, and it's the perfect place to swim in that warm Caribbean Sea or just chill out and take in the sun. For those energetic amongst you, there's of course Hobie cats, banana boat rides, windsurfing, jet skis, and of course there's water skiing. And if any of you have been watching the series, you'll know that Ben's still trying to learn. And I think it's time you had another go. I think so.
Allow the boat to pull you, okay? So when I pull, you stand. Gradually bring your bum to your skin, yes?
Now, Ben's tried to conquer the art of standing upright on a pair of planks from the Bahamas to Mauritius, Zululand to our present holiday resort, St Lucia. So far, the results have not been good. He's managed to fall in the water from every conceivable angle and at a variety of speeds on a selection of continents. He's learnt the basics in several dialects and would at this point probably make a very good ski instructor. It's just the skiing bit that's holding him back. This is about as good as it gets. He hasn't got the dedication. He actually turned down a couple of free hours practice when we were in Iceland last January, and you don't get opportunities like that too often.
Well, I'd need a day to really get it going, but I was getting it sus, but then I get excited and start pulling myself and fall over, so...
Well, there you go. Once again, Benjamin has proved that he's just not born to walk on water.
And talking about water, this is how you nip down to your local St Lucia style.
What a welcome sight that is. A rum punch. You know, these are a typical sign of the Caribbean, and they're quite easy to make at home too. All you need is a shot of rum, a shot of oranges, a shot of pineapple, a shot of lime juice, a shot of grenadine, a sprinkle of nutmeg, an ounce of sugar syrup, a drop of Angostura, a few ice cubes, a straw, and close your eyes. You could be in the Caribbean drinking this anywhere in the world. Best of all, the moment you arrive here, make sure you order one, and you'll just blend in with the crowd straight away.
Water skis are not the only things hard to handle in St Lucia. In amongst the pedal boats, sailboards, Hobie cats and suntans, there's another challenge. For soundman and water skis, reed cameraman and hammocks. But as it turned out, Pete wasn't the only one to have problems.
There are lots of things that don't mix in the Caribbean. One is laying in hampers underneath coconut trees.
Hammocks, Richard. Take two.
Did I say hammocks?
Rolling.
I'm learning quickly. There are two things that don't go in the Caribbean. One is trying to get into a hammock after the influence of rum punch, and the second is trying to get... One is attempting to get into a hamster after several rum punches.
Richard. Hammock.
Oh, hamster. Sorry. Sorry, it's difficult, you know. Right, we're learning fast here in the Caribbean. Lesson one is you shouldn't try and get into a helmet after seven.
Take 8.
Well, we're learning fast here in the Caribbean.
Not that fast, obviously.
What was I going to say?
This is Groile, or Big Island. It's not actually an island, but its business, 6 days a week, is traditionally connected with the salt water that washes its feet. It's a fishing village, and when we first paid its sun-washed streets a visit, not a lot was happening. There was a moment's excitement when a chicken crossed the road, but all in all, this Friday afternoon in Groile looked pretty much like any other. Colourful, hot, comparatively traffic-free, and the bars weren't doing a lot of business, apart from the occasional camera crew.
But it's on Friday nights that this quiet, quaint little fishing village takes on a whole new atmosphere.
Watch all of the young girls, them a jump up. Watch all of me brethren when I gather round shop. Watch all of the young men, them come see how we walk. Walk how we attack.
No one knows just how the tradition of a Friday night street party actually started here in Groile, but from what I can gather, nobody really cares so long as it keeps happening. All you do when the sun goes down is talk, dance, move from bar to bar, and then repeat the treatment until the early hours and then go home or fall over. Whichever comes first, make sure you've organised transport home or you'll be sleeping with the chickens. Well, that's the moon on its last legs, and dawn is breaking as only dawn can break in the Caribbean. Today, I need to find my sea legs. Well, actually, after last night, any legs will do. As the old Calypso song says, I'm taking a trip on a sailing ship. Destination, Soufriere.
It's a sun cream day, we're on the Mango Tango, we're pumping out reggae, and I've got my rum punch. It's safe to say I'm in the Caribbean.
It's only 10 past 9.
And it's only 10 past 9. It's going to be a long day today, boys. Cheers.
It's always nice to get a view from seaward when you're staying on an island. It gives a sort of different perspective, and when the rum flows free and the wind's in the right quarter, a sail up the coast is just the thing to get rid of what happened on Friday night. These party boats come in all sorts of different guises, either on board a catamaran like ours, or on board something more traditional. Meanwhile, a little more rum, good company, and dolphins crossing the sapphire blue sea under the bow. And that's the dramatic backdrop to Soufriere, the pitons on the volcanic coast. Land on the port bow, as they say in nautical terms. It's a nice, clean little town is Soufriere, tucked away under the mountains, and from this angle just a patchwork of colourful rooftops surrounded by natural rainforests. I should point out that it's far quicker to get here by boat, unless you've got loads of time on your hands and like driving for long periods on indifferent roads. Soufriere is one of those towns where tourists arrive every day and almost go unnoticed by the majority of local folk, and despite its scenic splendour, life must go on. The family needs feeding, and if the fish market happens to be on the beach, all the better. Mind you, that's an awful lot of fuss over a bunch of horse mackerel. I catch them back at home, and they're full of bones. You can't even give the blighters away in Jersey. Just in case some of these scenes seem familiar, I should point out that Soufriere was once invaded by movie land. This is where Michael Caine made the film Water, way back in 1984. Now, not a lot of people know that. And don't worry if it was before you were born. It's bound to come around again, and again, and again. If you're into architecture, some of the buildings here have a very special charm. Traditional Creole homes with ornate filigree wrapped around the eaves and balconies. Stone-faced buildings too, including the parish church. The boat trip aboard Mango Tango was not all rum punch and lazing about. Sightseeing was all part of our day trip package, so we were whisked off on the tourist route. After winding our way out of Soufrière, the roads became narrow. Remember what I said about driving to Soufrière? And the countryside was lush with tropical vegetation.
Where are we now? Oh yes, the Botanical Garden.
The Diamond Estate Botanical Gardens, actually, complete with sulphur springs and quite a lot of flowers. Now, I'm no botanist, but I recognise a waterfall when I see one. Louis XVI funded the building of 12 stone baths so his troops here could enjoy the therapeutic waters. What a nice king. They couldn't have been that grateful, though. He still lost his head. Did you know they had a guillotine in the square at Soufrière during the Revolution? A bit of a bolshy lot in those days, I understand.
I know it's not really your scene, Ben, but,
No.
you know, I mean, it's an education into the local flora and fauna. I mean, you've got your hibiscus, the rhododendrons. It gives you a chance to look at, you know, all the bits, all the trees that you're never sure of what they are. Put names to them.
To be honest, I don't care.
You know about the sweet peas hanging up there?
Oh,
Mange too.
it's more Pete's thing, this.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Pete?
I think flowers are puffy, actually. Much prefer birds. I mean, I've seen hummingbirds. You still in shot? Just checking.
You say you've seen hummingbirds? Where's he going?
He was tangled.
You say you've seen hummingbirds? Have
Yeah.
you filmed any?
No, I can't keep up with them. They're too quick. Oh, there's a hummingbird. Where? You know, sort of like that.
You were like that with the dolphins this morning as well,
Yeah,
weren't you?
there's one over there, Pete. There's one over there, Pete. Hey, you missed that one over there. You know, I'm sort of standing on a moving boat, you know.
No excuse.
But I have seen an Antillean bullfinch, black, with a nice little brown bit underneath it.
Did you film it?
No.
So you see, the trouble is we got Pete doing all these little bits. He's on holiday. He's doing it all for himself. Oh, that's a nice dolphin. That's a nice hummingbird. There's a nice bullfinch. But if you really want, we'll send you some postcards. Just send in a self-addressed envelope.
And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the drive-in volcano. Smelly, but interesting in a nutshell. A bit like Iceland, but warmer. The air temperature, that is, not the volcano. Every time I visit these thermally active areas, it reminds me of those stink bombs that nobody dropped in the school hall. They say you get used to the smell. Oh, really?
Richard?
Yeah.
You always seem to be carrying a tripod, don't you?
Whenever it's uphill, I carry the tripod. Absolutely amazing. The road, the volcano, a drive-in volcano. What more could you want? Look at that. The bubbling, the smell of sulphur, it's a very eerie feeling. Here we are, right in the crater. It's a reminder, really, of just how volatile these Caribbean shale dividers are. The last time this one erupted was in 1780. It was only a minor eruption. But as Montserrat's clearly shown, you can't trust sleeping volcanoes.
Or schoolmates who buy stink bombs and take them to school. Oh, that sulphur smell. It's terrible.
Time passed. Unbelievably, you were actually allowed to walk around these craters. That wasn't until 1987 when one of the guides showed just how dangerous it was. His name was Gabriel, and he fell into that crater. And he managed to survive, coming out with only second-degree burns. Rather amusingly, the crater has got wider since then through natural erosion and because a man fell into it. And they've named the crater after him. So that is Gabriel Crater.
So, if you want to become somebody in St Lucia, you simply jump into a volcano, lightly poach yourself, and then jump out again. A recipe for success, you might say. The final part of the Soufrière tour drifted us past Mount Petit Piton and onto a delightful plantation house for lunch, where we discovered a mule going round and round in circles in order to crush sugar cane. Once upon a time, my rum punch started in a place just like this. The finer art of grinding coffee beans was also demonstrated. Just don't mention the word instant here, that stick could really hurt. Me and the crew are still trying to work out what this bloke was doing. With Soufrière behind us, out came the rum punch, on went the reggae, and the next stop was a tiny bay for a short delay. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Well, at $85 per person, it's not exactly cheap. But then on the other hand, it's a full day out. And they do pack it in. You've done the drive-in volcano, the botanical gardens, and they feed you. Now, I think a little bit of snorkeling's in order.
The boat was suddenly surrounded by conch shell sales executives, so, with perfect grace, I made a timely exit. Those who stayed on board tried a little conch shell blowing. And it was time to up anchor and head for home. Entering harbour was a good time to show how much we'd enjoyed ourselves and how much rum punch had been consumed over the last 12 hours. The dance floor was a little cramped, but by this time, hey, who cares? Oh, I can never get these bits. Is it left, right, left? Never mind. That was a great day out, and I'd recommend it to anyone.
Well, what can I say? That's it. That's the lot. Till the next time. Goodbye.